With the announcement of the Sombra and Roadhog reworks in the future seasons, the entire community is thrilled and excited. Of course, as you may know, this is not the case due to the infamous PvE incident, and because of this, people basically ignored this line of text shown in the newest Overwatch roadmap. To most of the players, this might not be big news they were waiting for, but for me and all the other Sombra haters, this is huge news, and that's why today we are going to tinker around and find out what possible changes can we look for in Sombra, what are the core issues of her kit that need to be reworked, and what are some possible placeholders for the parts that need to be changed. Since I've got everything perfectly right in my video talking about predicting the ultimate ability of Live Weaver, I am now certain that my words are the most trustworthy source of information, and if you didn't watch that video, then shame on you. But now let's get back to the main topic and talk about Sombra. According to the most reliable data I could find, aka my super handsome and very smart subscribers, and if you want to join this elite club, then don't be afraid to press that subscribe button, we have space for more of you. Like, a lot of space. The results of the vote say that the most annoying part of Sombra's kit is her most iconic ability, the hack. But what's interesting here is that the translocator ability is not far behind. Why would that be is reasoned very nicely in some of the comments left under this poll. And I'm also going to point out what makes both of these abilities so hated and unfun to play against. First, let's talk about hack, and what it does is most likely already known by the majority of everyone watching, but for the sake of keeping everyone on the same page, let's quickly review the most important attributes. When used on an enemy player, that player can't use their abilities for a short duration, that is 1.5 seconds, and while under the effect of hack that lasts entire 8 seconds, Sombra will deal 25% more damage to that target. We're going to stop here for a second, and as you can see, there are a lot of attributes that make your gameplay way more limited and favored towards the Sombra player. And another important factor that plays a huge role in why this interaction is so annoying to play against is the fact she can use this ability while invisible, making your chances to react very slim. Not only that, the range and the entire mechanic of being hacked is incredibly generous towards Sombra, where the hack doesn't break instantly with the loss of the line of sight, even though it's supposed to. The game devs thought it was a brilliant idea to give one of the most annoying abilities in the entire game a benefit of still activating even when leaving LOS. So in short, this ability doesn't directly damage you in any way. In fact, if you got hacked and then left alone for some time, you wouldn't even notice a change after those 1.5 seconds. You can still shoot and move, so that's something, but what makes the anger cogs spinning is when you are forced to fight with those unfair disadvantages. If you start getting shot at, you can't just ignore it, as you would get melted in a matter of seconds. Therefore, the entire interaction between you and Sombra feels incredibly unfair and not satisfying to play against. Overall, Sombra is built around the concept of thriving in an unfair environment that she herself creates. It baffles me how some people actually thought that her playstyle would be fun to play against. Another fundamental reason why hack is hated so much is the fact it can turn even the most neutral elements of FPS shooters, that are the health packs, against you. By using hack on any health pack, you effectively make it useless to the other team, and make it extra spicy for you and your teammates, as the packs are respawning 4 times faster than they'd normally do. It doesn't matter where the health pack is placed, it can be on your side, right in the middle, or somewhere in the enemy backlines. No matter what pack you hack, it will be effective because it affects both teams at the same time. The worst case scenario is running into a hacked health pack in the middle of a fight. There is no worse feeling than backing up from a fight when both of your healers are dead, and you try to sustain yourself through your map knowledge and go to a health pack location just to find it disabled.
No.
And there is nothing you can do about it, just because an invisible player with bonus 60% move speed got to it first at the beginning of the match. We've also been in those situations where you almost get a kill, but then the enemy retreats to a place with a hacked health pack, and in the span of the next 5 seconds, they can replenish their entire health bar back, without the need of their Sombra being nearby, while your Lucio is too busy wallriding around the middle point, pumping out 50 damage per minute. The hack falls under the what I like to call free core fun bandits. These are the side stealers, movement muggers and response robbers, and they limit the three main attributes that are most important in all games: what you see, where you move and how you act. All of them are taking something away from you, effectively making you have less fun, as losing the ability to do something will always suck. If you keep those three imaginary villains in mind, you quickly begin to notice a lot of connections between the other games. The side stealers are often present in tactical shooters like Valorant or CSGO, with flashbangs, smokes or just very big damage zones. Movement muggers are just a fancier way of describing any form of crowd control, and the most iconic moveset that is present in most class-based games are the grab abilities like Blitzcrank's grab in League of Legends, Makoa's hook in Paladins, and again the hook of a character that I mentioned in the intro, which already answers the question why he also deserves a rework. And lastly, the response robbers, so in simpler terms, any silencing ability, like the main ability of Sombra that is a hack. What I would love to point out with those things we established a second ago is that you can have a perfectly healthy, good and balanced enough game without the addition of any of the free fun bandits. And as a clear example, I can bring up Team Fortress 2. That game doesn't have any form of visual limitations, other than observable indications that there is something going on with your character, like getting soaked in piss or milk-like substance. Yes, this game is great. TF2's movement muggers are also wildly hated across the entire community, where some items that used to stun were changed to do something less limiting, and players being bullied to death for using items that inflict some kind of slow effect, but these are still singular, tiny exceptions, because those are just a few items out of many of them. And lastly, no signs of silencing abilities or anything that would limit your gameplay because someone used a point-and-click ability just on you. Why do games feel the need to add annoying factors like Sombra's hack to the game, where you can easily make something far better and more fun to play with and against? And it's not only Overwatch that follows this design philosophy, as there are many more examples out there who clearly can't think of anything more original than just copying what others did. You don't know what a new character should do? Oh, just make him silence the other player. Too difficult to do? Okay, then just slap on a small stun or knockback to that ability. Phew! I went a little bit off topic here, where was I? Sombra is an extra special case due to the fact she doesn't have just one ability that makes her entire existence in a match a pain in the ass for the enemy team, but rather two, and what I'm talking about more specifically is the Translocator. This tiny device allows Sombra to set a little recall point that she can come back to instantly whenever she wants. It's the second wave of annoyance you experience in every single encounter with Sombra. Not only are you getting hit with the unfair fight that starts whenever the Sombra player wants to, due to the fact that while she's invisible she can just observe the surroundings and pick the perfect moment when you are alone, distracted or both. Only when the fight is turning out to be a losing battle for Sombra, she simply teleports away to safety, leaving you damaged physically and also mentally. This simply resets the Sombra and allows her to go straight ahead for another attempt, and keep on harassing people without any form of penalty. If you try to counter just one player that picked Sombra in your match, you no longer play the game as you'd normally do. You have a constant bonus objective of looking for her Translocator that can even be placed in her own spawn, and you must be also 100% always aware and ready to turn around to help a teammate that is getting abused in the backline. This comment points out something that might also be a great point when trying to figure out why her playstyle is bothering the players so much. A reckless player usually is aware of how much power and disruption they are causing, and they will utilize it to its fullest potential by focusing singular members of your team, or spamming voice lines around you just to make you paranoid, and all of that is allowed due to the guaranteed safe escape if anything goes wrong. You know what happens to any other hero if they mess up something? They usually die on the spot, but this hero is almost the only exception to that rule. Reinhardt goes in too deep, punished! Genji dashes in too deep, punished! Sombra goes too far and the entire enemy team opens fire on her, she just teleports away. What could possibly replace those two awful abilities? It's hard to imagine Sombra's hack being changed into something completely different, because it has been her iconic trait since she came out. She plays unfair, and that's her main attribute. But she should be able to get punished better for her mistakes. So in my opinion, we should focus on reducing her safety nets. First, removing the infinite cloak duration would be a great start. One of the reasons Sombra is so pesky is because she can get anywhere very quickly without any punishment. Bringing back her time limit would also force her to act quicker, and therefore force her to work with what she has, and not wait half of the match for the perfect opportunity to strike. This would also increase her skill ceiling, as getting a good jump on the enemy is not just a matter of how long you waited, but rather how well you timed your entire plan. What would be awesome too is to compensate the shorter invisibility duration, give her an ability to wall jump while invisible, so getting to hard to reach places is no longer reliant on traveling all the way around, but rather hitting some satisfying parkour moves to get there quicker in style, and to make use of your invisibility as much as you can. If it's hard for you to imagine what I'm talking about, a game called Dirty Bomb had a similar mechanic, and here's how it looks. Unfortunately, her playstyle is built upon jumping on isolated enemies, and the hack is a perfect tool to ensure she can get the upper hand, so even though I would love to see this ability getting stripped of its silencing ability, I don't think it can be executed without ruining her entire gameplay to lore connection. What would work better is disabling her ability to escape so easily. The current translocator heavily implies that you should use it very passively, unless you are diving in with an EMP, but making it teleport your character on impact would completely change the way you play her. Not only would it still be a great escape tool so we don't harm the Sombra mains too much, but it would also be a great flanking tool to help you get to places you would normally get with the infinite cloak, but faster and way cooler. It would also give Sombra players a choice in case they begin to lose their battles. They could now chicken away like they normally do, or try to use the new translocator as a mobility tool to squeeze more damage. This could be even more emphasized if you gave damage on impact to this new ability. So, if you land the translocator directly onto an enemy, not only do you gap close, but also land some additional damage. Maybe with hitting the enemy directly, your teleport would also launch you slightly into the air, due to Sombra performing as some kind of kick, so you would end up in a very similar scenario to a Genji's double jump ability, where you want to be above your enemies to land easier headshots and also confuse them. This way, the death doesn't feel as unfair, as you know the Sombra had to actually do something that required skill to output her damage, and she got to her position without traveling around the entire map. Last balance note here, we don't want to make a sitting duck out of Sombra in case she gets a kill and then has no way of escape. So maybe following the Genji's game loop a little bit more, making her new translocator reset on kills would make her a way more fun character to play. In conclusion, the Sombra rework in my opinion should make her invisibility get a timer again, rework her translocator into something more aggressive rather than passive, and give her some cooler movement abilities to compensate the shorter invis duration and the less distance effective translocator. All three of those changes don't remove the response robber issue entirely, but they make Sombra way less of an annoying brat to deal with, and more of a worthy opponent that is easier to track down, but more lethal when she does get a jump on people, and a big threat if left unattended. That would be it for today's video. I very highly encourage you to comment down below if you agree, but more importantly on what you disagree with me, so we can all brainstorm the best possible solutions for this very cool character ruined by her gameplay. If you enjoyed your time here, then of course you can subscribe to not miss out on any new content, but also come visit my channel to watch other awesome videos like this one. Thank you to everyone that voted and commented under my polls. You guys are truly amazing, and thank you guys for reaching the 777 sub count. And as always, thanks for watching, have a lovely day, bye bye.